Triumph just revealed an all-new touring bike that is better equipped and cheaper than a comparably set-up Harley-Davidson. And that's not opinion, that's math. From the factory, this bike shows up with hard luggage, a top box, heated grips, and rider tech already installed. Put that same equipment on a Harley touring model, and the price climbs fast every single time. I've got the equipment lists, pricing, and real-world differences laid out. Watch till the end, because the takeaway matters if you ride long miles. When Triumph dropped the bombshell tourer, Triumph chose now, right now, to reveal the all-new Triumph Tiger Sport 800 Tour, a machine positioned to hit the touring world in the gut. And the timing is strategic. The market has been restless, riders have been questioning value, and long-haul machines have drifted toward higher prices without offering more real comfort or more real capability. Into that tension, Triumph throws a fully kitted tourer and forces everyone to look twice. Triumph watched as the cost of long-distance riding rose year after year, and they stepped in with a tourer billed as better and cheaper than the traditional heavyweight options that have dominated American highways for decades. That kind of claim is not made lightly, and it is not ignored by anyone with real miles on the odometer. The Tiger Sport 800 Tour arrives at a moment when many riders are tired of paying more just to get the basics. Triumph seems to know that frustration, and their timing suggests they believe the touring world is ready for a shakeup. And when a brand strikes with this sort of confidence, the immediate question becomes where the shockwave lands next. That takes us into the deeper challenge Triumph just issued, whether spoken or not, a direct strike into America's touring stronghold. When Triumph unveiled the Tiger Sport 800 Tour, they did more than add a new model to the lineup. They stepped directly into one of the most guarded spaces in American motorcycling, full touring. That space has long been shaped by Harley-Davidson's identity, even when riders debate the finer points of comfort, cost, or performance. Triumph's move shows they understand the weight of this category, and they are not backing away from it. This challenge is not loud or dramatic. Triumph did not issue a declaration. They let the existence of the machine do the talking. By presenting a tour-ready motorcycle aimed squarely at riders who value practicality over pedigree, Triumph is stepping into territory that many assumed was locked down. The Tiger Sport 800 Tour is not a symbolic gesture. It is a direct statement that touring riders deserve options, real options, not just bigger engines and bigger price tags. What makes this challenge especially sharp is the simplicity behind it. Triumph knows that riders judge a touring machine by how far it can go, how it feels on the road, and how it respects the rider's budget. When a new contender arrives built around those fundamentals, the established order feels the pressure immediately. And that pressure spreads fastest among the riders who have spent the most time out there on the highway. Their reaction is where the story grows even more interesting. If you're finding value in this breakdown, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. It helps the channel reach more riders who appreciate straight talk. And feel free to share your thoughts as we dig even deeper into this unfolding story. The return of real long-haul spirit. Seasoned tourers do not get excited easily. They have seen trends come and go, watched marketing campaigns rise and fall, and learned to judge a machine only after it proves itself mile after mile. Yet the debut of the Tiger Sport 800 Tour has sparked conversations that feel different from the usual chatter. Riders who normally shrug off new releases are discussing whether this model represents a genuine alternative in a category that rarely sees meaningful disruption. The interest comes from something deeper than curiosity. Long-distance riders notice when a manufacturer takes touring seriously rather than treating it like an accessory bundle. They recognize when a motorcycle is built with intention instead of image. The Tiger Sport 800 Tour appears to carry that intention. Its launch signals a return to practicality, simplicity, and long-distance clarity, values that resonate strongly with riders who measure their machines by endurance, not fashion. Riders who have spent decades on back roads and interstates understand the difference between marketing claims and genuine touring purpose. And they sense that Triumph may have designed this machine with the road, not the showroom, in mind. That possibility alone has kept conversations alive in garages, online groups, and dealership parking lots. Those reactions lead directly to the fourth unfolding layer of this story: the industry's unexpected response to the way Triumph packaged this machine from day one. Every rider knows comfort starts before the first mile. Check the description below for the gears and accessories built to last. The factory-built tourer that sparked industry rumors. Dealers, analysts, and veteran riders all noticed the same thing the moment the Tiger Sport 800 Tour was revealed. It arrived as a complete touring package. That single decision has put the industry on edge. For years, full touring capability has required add-ons, upgrades, accessories, and upsells. Triumph broke that pattern in one move. And that move has sparked more conversation than any spec sheet or performance claim ever could. The shock does not come from flash or novelty. It comes from completeness. The Tiger Sport 800 Tour challenges the long-standing assumption that touring riders must buy a base motorcycle and slowly build it into something worthy of 1,000-mile trips. Triumph's approach signals a belief that riders should start fully equipped, confident, and ready for real travel the moment the key turns. That belief disrupts a comfortable business model that many dealers have relied on for years. This approach has forced industry watchers to rethink where the touring segment is headed. If one brand brings a full package tourer to market at a competitive price, others may need to respond. And once that conversation begins, the landscape starts to shift. The Tiger Sport 800 Tour is not just a new model. It is a challenge to an entire system, one that is now bracing for the next move. Comfort engineering, designed for real miles. Triumph approached comfort with the mindset of a company that understands long days and unpredictable weather. Instead of treating comfort as an optional upgrade, the foundation of the machine was shaped around easing the strain of extended riding. Heated grips were built into the design rather than added as an afterthought, giving the rider steady warmth that cuts through cold mornings and high-altitude winds. Handguards provide a subtle but steady benefit, deflecting wind and debris without creating unnecessary width. These elements make a difference that becomes clear only after hour upon hour of continuous travel. The dual comfort seat is another carefully considered choice. Its shape encourages natural posture, allowing the rider to settle in without constantly shifting weight or adjusting position. A supportive seat can determine whether a long trip feels manageable or exhausting, and Triumph seems to have kept that truth in mind. Instead of a sharply angled perch or a thin, sport-oriented pad, the seat strikes a balance between firmness and forgiveness. The goal is not luxury, but endurance, the quiet kind of comfort that pays off 1 mile at a time. What stands out most is the way all these elements work together. Comfort does not come from any single feature, it comes from harmony. And that balance leads directly into the details of carrying gear, reveal an entirely different angle on real-world touring capability. Luggage built for the road, not the showroom. Touring demands space, not only for convenience, but for readiness. Triumph's integrated storage system reflects an understanding of what riders face when trips stretch across states, climates, and days. Instead of requiring added racks or aftermarket solutions, the panniers and top box arrive as part of the original build. These storage units are shaped to follow the lines of the machine rather than fight them, reducing awkward bulk while maximizing usable volume. It creates a sense of order before the journey even begins. The total capacity of 106 liters offers room for tools, clothing, rain gear, and the countless small essentials that riders learn to carry after years on the road. A well-designed storage system means less time wrestling with straps and bungees, and more time actually riding. the top box, capable of holding 2 helmets, is mounted on an aluminum rack that adds confidence and steadiness. When storage is balanced, secure, and harmonious with the machine's geometry, the entire touring experience improves in ways that are easy to appreciate, but hard to replicate. The most compelling aspect is the simplicity. Everything has a place, everything locks, and everything feels purpose-built. This turns packing from a chore into a routine and reduces the mental load that often comes with longer trips. From here, the focus shifts away from utility and toward the heart of the machine itself, where power delivery and handling come together to create its real-world character. Ride dynamics that earn a rider's trust. A touring machine lives or dies by how it behaves on the open road. Triumph shaped this engine to deliver 113 horsepower in a way that prioritizes control and balance over raw aggression. The mid-range carries most of the workload, offering strength where riders spend the majority of their time. Power like this is felt not in top-end bursts, but in the smooth pull through rolling terrain, tight 2-lane curves, and steady highway transitions. It is the kind of power that makes long miles feel predictable rather than demanding. The chassis tells a similar story. Stability remains the aim, ensuring the machine holds its line even in crosswinds or uneven pavement. Instead of chasing ultralight responsiveness, Triumph chose a structure that supports confidence. The frame communicates clearly, offering feedback without harshness. Suspension and geometry come together to create a feeling of planted assurance, the sort of ride quality that makes a touring bike feel like a partner rather than a challenge. This combination of engine character and chassis integrity shapes the entire experience. It delivers the reassurance needed for long-distance riding without turning the machine into something rigid or dull. The result is a sense of readiness for any kind of road, whether smooth, broken, or winding. And once the mechanical foundation is set, the final element arrives in the form of technology that supports the rider instead of overwhelming the ride. Tech that works harder than the marketing ever could. Technology on a touring bike can either enhance the journey or complicate it. Triumph seems to have chosen features that stay out of the rider's way while offering meaningful support when needed. Riding modes allow the machine to adjust its behavior for different road conditions, providing tailoring without demanding constant attention. Cornering ABS and traction control build a protective layer against unexpected moments, particularly when weather or road surfaces shift without warning. These systems operate quietly, stepping in only when necessary. Shift Assist adds its own subtle advantage, smoothing gear changes during long climbs or busy intersections. It removes a layer of effort from the riding equation, making the machine feel more cooperative in situations that usually require rapid input. Connectivity through the My Triumph system brings navigation and information to the rider without introducing distraction. The display balances clarity with restraint, offering what is needed without flooding the rider with excess data. This technology suite is built for purpose, not show. Every feature solves a real touring problem, making long rides more controlled, less tiring, and more predictable. It forms a thoughtful bridge between mechanical confidence and modern convenience, enhancing the journey without overwhelming the rider. And this bridge sets the stage for a broader discussion about how such a complete package influences the larger touring landscape as the story continues. A price point that shakes the market backbone. Price has always been a quiet battlefield in the touring world, and Triumph's decision to introduce a fully equipped tourer at a competitive cost changes the mood overnight. When a machine arrives ready for long miles without demanding layers of upgrades or accessory bundles, the financial conversation shifts. Riders notice when a company delivers value without pushing them toward add-ons, and this release brings that reality into sharp focus. The moment a tourer enters the market at a figure that undercuts expectations, the established cost hierarchy begins to wobble. The pressure does not come from the number on the tag alone. It comes from what that number represents. A touring motorcycle, priced with intention, signals that a manufacturer understands the financial habits of everyday riders, especially those who weigh each purchase with caution. A predictable price creates stability, and stability creates confidence. When that confidence grows, it naturally challenges brands that rely on loyalty rather than affordability to keep their touring segment strong. A pricing shift can ripple fast. Riders who assumed premium costs were inevitable now see alternatives. Dealers reliant on accessory markups must rethink margins. The dynamic changes quickly, turning cost from a long-standing obstacle into a competitive tool that reshapes the touring landscape. And that shift leads directly into how riders have begun rethinking the meaning of loyalty itself. A loyalty shift years in the making. Loyalty has long been one of the defining forces in the touring community. Many riders build their identity around a single brand, a single sound, or a single tradition. Yet the introduction of a fresh touring option shakes that foundation more than expected. Conversations that once revolved around pride and heritage are now expanding to include questions about value, purpose, and long-term satisfaction. Riders who swore they would never stray from familiar territory are quietly reconsidering what loyalty means in an evolving market. The emotional weight of this shift is significant. Loyalty is not only about machines, it is about memories, friendships, and miles that shaped a rider's sense of belonging. When a new model arrives with a blend of practicality and intention, it challenges those emotional anchors without attacking them. It simply presents another way to enjoy the road. Riders who once believed change was unnecessary now find themselves wondering whether loyalty should be earned continually rather than assumed automatically. This moment reflects a cultural transition. Touring isn't abandoning tradition, but it is embracing alternatives that match modern riding realities. Riders now discuss comfort, reliability, and practicality with greater honesty, shifting focus from brand loyalty toward personal fulfillment and satisfaction on the road. And with this evolving mindset, attention naturally turns toward what makes a touring machine genuinely appealing to seasoned riders. Before we continue, make sure you are subscribed so you never miss updates like this. The touring world is changing fast, and staying informed gives you an edge when the next reveal or industry shift lands. Now let's get back to the story. A tourer built for those who know the road. For riders who have spent years stacking miles, comfort and endurance become the real markers of a capable touring motorcycle. Triumph's approach appeals to this segment because it aligns with the physical realities of long-distance travel. A machine that reduces fatigue without sacrificing control earns respect quickly among seasoned tourers. Ergonomics play a central role, offering a riding posture that avoids strain on shoulders, hips, and lower back during extended hours in the saddle. This attention to rider well-being is not flashy, but it is deeply meaningful. Experienced tourers often judge a motorcycle not by its first impression, but by how it feels after the 10th hour on the highway or the 3rd day of cross-country travel. A design that supports the body rather than fighting it creates a sense of trust. That trust becomes a kind of partnership between rider and machine, one built on consistency rather than surprise. When the wind, the road, and the weather all shift throughout a long day, a motorcycle that remains steady and supportive stands out. What makes this appeal stronger is the way Triumph has balanced comfort with control. The rider is not lifted into a relaxed posture at the expense of feedback or handling. Instead, the machine encourages a calm, centered connection to the road. This balance resonates with tourers who value endurance as much as performance. It represents a thoughtful approach to riding that respects the realities of long-term travel. And as riders notice this balance, they begin asking what industry insiders are saying behind the scenes. The backroom conversation dealers aren't admitting publicly. Dealerships often hear the first whispers of shifting sentiment. And the arrival of a new competitor in the touring world has sparked quiet conversations behind service counters and in back offices. Sales staff have reported increased questions from riders who never previously wandered outside familiar territory, creating an unexpected atmosphere of curiosity. When a model enters the market with a ready-to-ride touring setup, it inevitably causes dealers to reconsider the assumptions that once guided their floor strategies. Some insiders describe a tone of cautious respect. They understand that a strong competitor can reshape buyer behavior, even if only slightly at first. Others express concern that riders are beginning to compare total value rather than simply brand identity. Dealerships depend on predictable patterns, and any change to those patterns creates uncertainty. This uncertainty shows up in small details, such as sales staff adjusting their language or service teams preparing for new kinds of questions. Those tracking customer behavior note that even modest interest in alternatives can reshape trade-ins, accessory sales, and long-term loyalty. Dealers now watch the touring segment closely, sensing a subtle but unmistakable turning point that could redefine their expectations moving forward. And that sense of change leads directly into the broader implications waiting in the next story. Competitors forced into a new game. When one brand disrupts the touring segment, others cannot afford to ignore the ripple. Triumph's decision to introduce a fully equipped touring model forces Japanese and European manufacturers to reevaluate both their assumptions and their strategies. Companies that once relied on steady incremental updates now face a competitor willing to challenge expectations in a way that blends practicality with confidence. This shift places quiet pressure on makers who have grown comfortable with predictable product cycles and established fan bases. Japanese manufacturers may feel this impact first. They have historically balanced innovation with reliability, offering machines that emphasize long-term ownership and consistent performance. A move like Triumph's nudges them toward reconsidering their approach to factory-equipped touring packages. If riders begin expecting a complete setup without aftermarket additions, Japanese brands may start integrating more comprehensive equipment into their midweight and heavyweight models. This possibility carries significant implications for pricing, production planning, and design philosophy. European brands, meanwhile, may take the disruption as an invitation to refine their niche offerings. Companies known for premium adventure or sport touring machines could explore a more accessible touring segment, using Triumph's example as proof that riders appreciate function over flourish. Such a shift could create new competition within categories that once felt secure. And with these potential responses forming, the conversation naturally turns toward how such changes might reshape the larger economics of the touring world. Touring economics on the edge of reinvention. Touring economics often follow long cycles, shaped by manufacturing costs, supply chain stability, and the unpredictable rhythm of rider demand. Triumph's introduction of a competitively priced, fully equipped tourer challenges those cycles by presenting a model that delivers value up front. If this strategy resonates across the market, manufacturers may be pushed to adjust their pricing frameworks to remain competitive. This adjustment could influence a wide network of suppliers and distributors who depend on predictable margins and slow-moving change. A shift in pricing strategy also affects how companies evaluate risk. When one brand demonstrates success with a streamlined, value-driven approach, others take notice. The more models that follow this pattern, the more pressure builds on the traditional structure of touring motorcycle pricing. Accessory-driven revenue may face new limits, pushing manufacturers to rethink how they design and market their machines. This could lead to broader changes in production volume, shipment timing, and long-term financial planning. Rider expectations are changing. A tourer ready for long-distance travel without extra spending makes buyers more selective. This selectivity increases competition in price, durability, service support, and long-term reliability, gradually reshaping the economic foundations of the entire touring motorcycle segment. With these pressures gathering momentum, Attention shifts toward how manufacturers and dealerships will adapt internally to maintain stability. Labor and dealerships, bracing for a new reality. A change in touring strategy does not stop at design or pricing. It extends into the factories, the assembly lines, and the showrooms where motorcycles begin their journey to the road. Manufacturing teams may need to adjust workflows to accommodate more complete builds rather than relying on accessory installation after purchase. This shift could require new training programs, revised quality control procedures, and updated communication between engineering departments and production staff. A more integrated touring model demands greater precision and consistency during assembly. Labor considerations become equally important. Workers may face new expectations regarding technical knowledge, efficiency, and coordination across departments. A streamlined touring platform might reduce some tasks while increasing others, creating a redistribution of responsibilities. Manufacturing facilities must remain flexible enough to embrace these changes without compromising output or safety. This recalibration could reshape how companies assess staffing, scheduling, and long-term employee development. Dealerships feel this shift immediately. Fully equipped tourers reduce traditional upselling, forcing sales teams to emphasize completeness rather than add-ons. Service departments face new maintenance demands, pushing dealerships to rethink business models, adjust strategies, and reshape how they engage riders moving forward. And with dealers adjusting their practices, the broader meaning of this moment begins to take form across the touring landscape. The next era of touring takes shape. The arrival of a fully equipped touring machine at a competitive price introduces a turning point that extends beyond any single brand. It challenges long-standing assumptions about what riders should expect when beginning a journey. Instead of accepting incomplete builds or fragmented upgrade paths, touring riders may increasingly demand machines that respect both their time and their investment. This shift creates a ripple that touches the cultural, economic, and practical aspects of the touring world. Touring motorcycles are entering a new era of purpose-driven design. Riders still value comfort, durability, and reliability, but now they expect honesty and completeness from the start. A machine ready for real travel shows respect for the miles ahead and the rider's commitment to the open road. This shift builds on touring's history while pushing manufacturers to focus on practicality with greater intention. As the industry adapts, riders gain a clearer sense of what truly matters when choosing their next journey. At the end of the day, this isn't about picking sides or telling anyone what they should ride. It's about understanding where the touring market is going and what your money actually buys now. If you've put serious miles on a Harley, or you've cross-shopped other tourers, I want to hear your take. Drop your experience in the comments. If this breakdown helped, hit like, subscribe, and stick around. We keep it honest, rider first, and grounded in real miles.